Hey everybody, your pal Donnie Dow here. Today I'm on Evansville's east side in the Harrison Hill subdivision. Harrison Hill is right next to Harrison High School, and it was developed in the mid-60s by a very prolific local home builder. A home builder who, for about 25, 30 years, dominated Evansville real estate. His company built over 10,000 homes. In fact, this home here was one of the display homes. So most builders now refer to the display home as a model home. Back then they called them display homes. Also back then there was more spec homes or speculative homes where the builder would go ahead and build 2 or 3 houses and almost completely finish them and then sell them. So that back there was a display home. The builder, Guthrie May. A lot of people think of Guthrie May as just Country Club Meadows. So I did a video featuring Country Club Meadows, and he built about 4,400 homes there. And there are some pros and cons to the original build of those homes. So those homes were developed more for entry level, a starter home, someone returning from the service, or maybe they just graduated college or just got, a promotion at their union job, whatever. So those homes often had much thinner decking for the roof. They had smaller walls. Normally we see 2x4 framing. Some of those have 2x2 framing. So some of them have plywood walls, which to me is just really interesting. But at any rate, so Guthrie May built those homes, but he also built Valley Downs, which I did a video on that too. Valley Downs is North Green River Road, before Lynch, or I guess south of Lynch. And those homes, a lot of bi-levels, those were built somewhat concurrently with Harrison Hill. Harrison Hill, though, had some really neat features, and they were marketed as executive level homes. So they were a little bit bigger. One of their, or several of their ads mentioned that these homes put your family first, which is antiquated, but at any rate, so a lot of these were at the time, 65, 66, they were somewhat expensive, but they weren't incredibly expensive. They weren't outliers, and they certainly weren't custom homes. So one of the ads offered one of these homes, and it was one of the 2-story ones too. It was $27,600. You put $200 down, and you made a mortgage payment of $121 a month. That's another thing. Guthrie May was brilliant. He financed a lot of the homes himself. So rather than have to wait for a lengthy mortgage approval, etc., he would credit qualify you based on whatever they used back in the 60s, and put your $200 down, and you were moving in. That $121 payment did not include property taxes and homeowners insurance, because those things were usually not escrowed into the monthly payment at the time. But one thing that he built here that's really interesting, it's coming up in a moment, and I actually just discovered this. I've always thought this house was interesting, but I didn't really know why it looked kind of weird and different than the rest of the homes in the neighborhood. And I'll show it to you in a second. But so a lot of people believe that if a home was built between 1950 and 1965, it is a mid-century modern. That's not entirely true. Mid-century, yes. Modern, not necessarily. So this neighborhood, Harrison Hill, represents a return to what they call traditional homes. And so they brought back a lot of the classic elements and decided to abandon some of the more modern touches. Real quick, so we've got a mansard roof across the street here, which I like, but this one, let me turn you around. Oh, it's always dangerous when I go turning people around. There, this one, I love this house. I've always loved this house. It's got 5 bedrooms. I think it's 2.5, it might be 3.5 baths. Really cool. I've always liked that house. I like mansard roofs, but you know, I've never had to pay to replace one, so maybe that's why I like them. Okay, so this house is really cool. So let's talk about it real quick. So first of all, Guthrie May referred to this. You know what, I'm not going to tell you yet what he referred to it as. Just spoil the surprise. Okay, so one of the first things you may notice are the boxed-in gutters. Kind of unusual. Also, for mid-century modern, the windows are sparse. Like normally, mid-century modern, you see big windows, floor to ceiling. You see a lot of those windows that are the top, you know, like a third of the wall or whatever. Not this one. In fact, look, these windows, it's almost like a bank or something like this. Small, narrow windows. And you're thinking, geez, that probably doesn't get a lot of light. That's where you're wrong. This Guthrie May referred to as an atrium house. And as far as I know, it's the only one that he ever built locally. In the middle of that house is a large open courtyard, and it lets in light from every direction. So you have the small windows, but then you have the atrium, which allows a lot of light in. And I just think that's really fascinating. It's really interesting what Guthrie May was able to accomplish in such a, well, it wasn't even a short period of time. I mean, honestly, it was almost 3 decades, but to build that many houses with that many crews at the same time and financing a lot of these buyers, it's really impressive. The last thing I'm going to show you on this tour is the official display home. So Guthrie May was or whoever did his advertising was brilliant, because they would, on Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Easter Sunday, they would advertise, sorry, all our display homes are closed today. And that's just another way of getting your name in front of more people on the days when more people were reading the newspaper, which was the primary form of advertisement back then. And you got to say, hey, look, we're closed. This is important to us. So I know that marketing exists. I know that lots of people have done that. But as far as a prolific local builder, he was one of the few that I saw do that routinely. So, and it worked. I mean, obviously, you don't sell 10,000 plus houses if you're not building what the people want at a price they can afford and doing it quickly, which he was really good at. But a big part of this is really just to say, Guthrie May, like him or not, like his homes or not, he was able to accomplish a lot of things, and he was able to build many different home styles. So don't just pigeonhole them into the ones off of First Avenue. That's just one type of home that he built. Okay, last thing. This was the permanent display home. So the home I showed you at the beginning was a spec home. This was the display. So people would come to this house and meet with whomever, the salesperson, etc. They would pick out their fixtures, furnishings, etc. This was a model, and notice it's not even near the biggest. That was also by design. Selling to executives, take them in the small one, but no, you and your family need to come first. Let's get you a big one. I think it's great. 60s real estate in Evansville. It's fascinating. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Tell all your friends that when they deal with Donnie, they'll see the differences, Donnie. Thanks. See ya.